Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for another depressing Chelsea preview this Premier League season. But for once, we actually have a few somewhat positive things to talk about for next season. Nothing's positive about this season anymore, but we have a few positive things. Chelsea finally seem to have pulled the finger out of their bumholes and have sent an offer to Mauricio Pochettino. We'll talk about that in more detail in just a minute. We might also be interested in Andre Onana, the goalkeeper of Inter Milan. We will talk about what we think of that and, why Chelsea potentially decided on him rather than other options. We will talk about that as well. Edouard Mendy leaving. We will go through a little quiz, so get ready for that one. And of course, we will then take a little dig at Frank Lampard picking awful lineups all of the time. So we will say what lineup we would like to see and then already be prepared for tomorrow to be disappointed once again, because that is what happens when Frank Lampard is in charge this season. I'm not going to say always, because, there was good times under Frank when he was first here. But unfortunately, these 6 games so far have been nothing but diabolical. So that is fun. But as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined by 2 absolutely wonderful guests. First of all, I'll start with you, Adash. Thank you for being back on. It's been a hot minute, but you've been quite busy. You're finally done with your uni semester. Going back home tomorrow, you told me. So I'm very glad that you found the time to come on this stream. Haven't spoken to you in a hot minute, like I say. It's been a depressing time at Chelsea. I can't remember the last time what was happening when I last spoke to you in terms of, Chelsea. But my days, it's not been fun recently, has it?
Yeah, thank you for having me back on. I think, ironically, the last time I was back, I was on the stream was when Lampard was announced. The day Lampard was announced, and the day when it first came out that he was going to become the interim manager. So how things have gone downhill since then. But yeah, I think I've just kind of detached from this season. I'm just trying my best not to let it mentally ruin me, and looking forward to preseason, hopefully a new start. But I think the most frustrating thing is that there doesn't seem to be any correlation between what's happening at the end of this season to what's happening next season. We're not building any foundations. We're not doing anything, which is, I think, the most depressing part of it. Not even the results in isolation, but the fact that there's no trajectory whatsoever on any level at Chelsea right now. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
It is what it is, but that's one of the most frustrating thing. Yes, KSM, man, we will of course talk about all the Matt Law news as we get to it. But that's the most frustrating thing, and I don't want to say Lampard doesn't care about Chelsea, not at all. But the teams that he picks, the decision that he makes, they look like decisions that are more about his own career than they are about Chelsea, because that's the only explanation I can find for some of the team selections that he has picked, because like you've just touched on, there is nothing left to fight for. And the only positive we could take from having nothing left to fight for, the only positive with something like that, is that there is less pressure to get results, because we all know we're going to lose every game anyway. So you might as well play players that aren't usually getting as many minutes and prepare them before next season. They will hopefully get a few more minutes. But Frank isn't doing that. And that just makes these games that we're experiencing at the moment even worse. Now, sure, until the Madrid game happened and we were officially knocked out of that, I could somehow accept it and deal with it, because I'm like, okay, there was still something. But ever since then, it's just an absolute joke. And the fact that he sits there after every game, not throwing players under the bus, but saying, we don't do this well enough, and we spoke about this and we didn't do that. I'm like, Frank, I know you don't necessarily want to say what your plans were, either before or after games. But at the same time, I'm like, none of us have seen what you apparently want to do. So if you want the fans on board, even for the last few games, how about you start by after a game, rather than just telling us we didn't do what we spoke about, tell us what you spoke about. Because I think that's the issue, the things you speak about. Because clearly they ain't working, but you keep apparently doing the same thing and none of it works. So so frustrating. And I hate being so critical and so dismissive and so just talking down on Frank Lampard like that. I don't want to. There was a reason why I had my hesitations before he joined. Partly because I was scared that he wouldn't really help us much, but also because I didn't like how it ended under Frank, where we're in a situation where Chelsea fans go at Frank Lampard. He's our biggest legend ever, or one of them anyway. I don't want to have to criticize Chelsea Football Club's biggest legend. I don't want to have to do that. When it's Potter, when it's bloody Rafa Benitez, even when it's Poch next season, I have absolutely no problems criticizing them when things are awful. But with Frank Lampard, it just hurts to have to, but we still have to, right, Pies? Because my days, these games have not been good enough. And I mean, I'll ask you honestly, do you expect him to understand what lineups to pick starting tomorrow? Because I don't. Madueke might start after what he said in the last game. But, I mean, otherwise, I'm still expecting Sterling to start. I'm still expecting Kovacic to start. I'm still expecting Kante to start, if I'm honest. Like, what about you, though?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just been pretty disappointing thus far in terms of the lineups. And like Adash said, there's no real foundations being set, being laid for the next manager. Like some of the younger players are just not being played at all. I mean, I've been calling for Aubameyang to start, but clearly he isn't match fit. So why don't you give Datra Fofana a go? He's only had 45 minutes so far. Whether he's ready or not is a completely different thing. Do Havertz and Aubameyang look ready right now? No. So just you might as well we've got nothing to play for apart from pride, and the players on the pitch are not showing any pride. So,
I mean, if the plan is for Kai to stay, then okay, keep playing him. But if the plan is for him to go, then he shouldn't be playing either. Even I agree, even though I like him.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he needs to mix things up a bit. It's good to see that Lewis Hall travelled. I think he should get a start. I think Chukwuemeka should get a start. I think Madueke, Mudryk should both, be playing a lot more than they are. So I don't really understand what he's trying to do. He mentions stability a lot, but every single one of his lineups. There is
no stability right now. Let's be honest, and he can't. Exactly. And no matter what he does, he won't be able to bring in stability in this current situation anyway.
No, but what I'm saying is he's talking about stability in lineups, and he's not picking. Each lineup and each team is different. So
different different formation, different players.
Yeah,
but
you can't
players that he keeps keeping in the side.
Yeah, and you can't obviously preach stability when you keep doing that. So, I mean, we'll see what the lineup is tomorrow. But I don't know. I listened to his press conference a little bit earlier. It's just a bit concerning. He mentioned, since Arsenal, it's been mainly recovery, and we've only had a small prep session this morning, and it just doesn't really give you that it doesn't really give you a good feeling tomorrow. Because I think Arsenal, we played them on Tuesday, right? I mean, did the players look like they needed recovery to you? I mean, it was fucking abysmal performance. Hardly ever many runs.
Aside from that, he should play nearly 11 different players anyway.
Exactly. What's he on about recovery? Fucking hell, mate. Yeah. Honestly, it's not like a 2-day turnaround.
A long season, sure, but I get it. But
that performance was disgusting, though. We talked about it. It was in the first half. We just fair enough. If you're constantly tracking back and you're tracking runners, it's high intensity game. It wasn't at all. We didn't match them in intensity at all. So. I found that a bit strange, and some of his comments about Badiashile didn't really agree with, sort of suggesting that it's natural for a new signing to have in and out periods in the team when you come from a new league and you're young. I mean, on one hand, he's correct, but on the other hand, Badiashile has adapted very, very well, and I think it's just been so wrong of him to push him out the side ever since he's joined as well. So. Yeah, there's just a few things I'm not really happy about right now, amongst obviously the players are performing like shit as well. So it's an all-round mess, to be honest.
Well, exactly. I am in full agreement, mate. I didn't actually manage to catch the press conference today. I haven't even seen many quotes. I saw the Badiashile thing because I saw you tweet about it, or someone else tweet about it. But did he say anything else? I also saw that the injury list is basically the same, so nothing's changed on that front. So that tells me still Reece James, Mason Mount. We have no idea on Mendy. Havertz should be back. Is everyone else fit? I think so, right? Just Reece and Mount, really.
Yeah, and Cucurella.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, Cucurella. Yeah, sorry?
Did Ruben pick up a knock, or am I?
He's just not used, mate. I think. That's what it seems like anyway. So that's fun. Making my time just even more miserable. As if losing wouldn't be enough. I don't even get to see Ruben. But shall we just start off with some of the news? You know what? I would actually, rather than with Poch, I would rather start with Andre Onana, with the goalkeeping situation. So, breaking, according to Matt Law, and again, Matt Law is still high up in the tier list of sources, but I don't think he's quite as high anymore as he once was. But regardless, his report was that Chelsea are trying to put themselves in pole position to sign Andre Onana from Inter Milan. Now, boys, what do we think? I'll start with you, Pies. And ladies and gentlemen in the chat, put your opinions on whether Andre Onana should be a target for Chelsea. Put them in the chat as well. But Pies, what are your thoughts?
I think he's a good goalie. I definitely do think he's a good goalie. He was obviously very highly rated at Ajax. I've seen a little bit of him this season. I don't obviously watch Serie A very regularly, but a lot of their fans saying he's been very good. I think the price, by the way, was about 40 million, up to 40 million. I think the reason why, well, they're kind of like us, but they've got some like loans to pay back or something. So I think this is why he's maybe being sold. He's just joined not too long ago, actually. I don't know whether it was the start of this season or last season, but
I think this was his second season at Inter, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of clean sheets in big games and stats I was reading. He's a good shot stopper, and obviously, I think the main attribute of him is his, ball playing ability. I mean, there's been some clips floating around. I remember this in the Ajax days as well.
This season was his only and first season at Inter, actually.
Yeah, I did think that, but in terms of Ajax and like ball playing, this guy thinks he's like Neuer or something. So yeah, he's very confident. We've talked a little bit about it already in terms of like whether he's better, a big enough upgrade on Kepa or whatnot. But I think it's been obvious we've been trying to get a goalie, and I think this will be interesting because, I'm not quite sure who's why ONANA specifically. But it would be interesting to see if Poch like wants him or not, or like whether he wants his own goalie, whatever that may be. But
he was asked about it. Maybe that's why we're choosing ONANA. Could be.
It did say in the thing that Poch has to give the green light first. So
okay, I haven't read it. Of course.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I'd be happy, but there's like definitely some. I think his like positioning is not always the best. I think so. I think that was like the one complaint I saw in the fan saying was like his positioning for shots sometimes is a bit off. But yeah, I mean, if Kepa and Mendy are going to go, we need a goalie, and I do think he's a very solid goalie. So yeah. Why not?
It's a tough one for me, because I've always had the opinion that if we're going to change on Kepa, then it should be someone that's actually a serious, significant improvement. Now, some people will tell you ONANA is, in my opinion, not quite as clear. We'll get into my reasons for that in a second. So that's why it's a bit. So for me, my first choice would be Mike Maignan from the other side of Milan, and I don't really understand why. Fair enough if we can't get him. Okay, they might not make top four, but still, maybe he just wants to stay or whatever else, or they refuse to sell him. That is well possible. But I still think we should try, right? So because I think in the opinion of most people, Mike Maignan is another serious step up from Andre ONANA. And I want to clarify, I don't think ONANA is bad. Not by any means. I don't even think he's actually worse than Kepa. I would probably say they're on a similar level with weaknesses and strengths in slightly different points. But my bigger issues with ONANA, rather than the actual goalkeeping in and of itself, is a few character traits that he seemed to have shown over the years. Because let's not forget, he got suspended for over a year for doping. Now, of course, he claims that he accidentally used some sort of cream of his girlfriend. But I mean, I would say that if I doped. Now, I still don't think he would do it again, just because of, scared of getting banned again. You don't want that, do you? But also, there was also the World Cup situation for Cameroon, where he left the squad during the World Cup because he didn't want to follow the manager's instructions of not playing out from the back, but playing long balls. And I'm like, okay, you personally might want to play it out from the back, and you might in your club even do that. But if your manager in your national team, in a World Cup, and he's Cameroonian, it's not like he's Brazilian where there's a guarantee he's going to be at every World Cup, right? He's Cameroonian, they're not at every World Cup. To prioritize his own opinion over the manager's instruction and being part of a World Cup squad, to me, is a seriously concerning character trait. Because I'm like, so as soon as he disagrees with what the manager wants, he's not going to do it, or what? Like, is that the kind of player that we should go after? Now, sure, if the coach and ONANA always agree on everything, it's going to be fine, of course. But how do we know that will be the case? So that's what worries me a little bit. Now, he seems to be a good shot stopper, both from distance and, in his goal. His best strength certainly seems to be playing out from the back. Obviously, when he was at Ajax, before he got that doping ban, he was a brilliant goalkeeper, and a lot of the best clubs in Europe were potentially talking about him at the time. But then obviously he got banned for a while, and then even though when he wasn't banned anymore, Ajax didn't use him straight away, and then he went to Inter, and all of a sudden replaced Handanovic. Honestly, when they signed him, I thought, okay, so he just went to Inter for more money to be backup. But apparently, he just replaced Handanovic, which I found a bit strange. I know Handanovic is old nowadays, but still, obviously, goalkeepers' age is a lot less relevant. So that is a fair play thing to him. It's not that easy to replace Handanovic, who I'm pretty sure was Inter captain until he maybe lost his spot. So, that is not an easy person to just replace when they weren't, sold. So, there is positives, but I do also have hesitations. I tweeted that earlier. If any of you guys saw it, by the way, follow me, Last1507 on Twitter if you don't. But I'm also happy to be proved wrong, right? So, like, it's not like I'm fully against it. It's not like I'm like, no, we shouldn't go for him at all. I just think we should try. Like, if he's an option, that's okay. Him, David Raya, is his first name David? I think so, David. Or Diogo Costa. They're all like decent options. I mean, at least Andre Onana is taller than Raya and Diogo Costa, so that's a positive. And when especially fans always on Kepa's case for a small goalkeeper. So, like, if you replace Kepa with another small goalkeeper, that would be stupid, purely from a fan base perspective, in my opinion. But yeah, I would still prefer Mike Maignan, depending on what Barca's financial situation is. Do they maybe need to get rid of Andre ter Stegen? If so, I think we should most certainly inquire what the fee situation is for that. I don't think they will let him go because they will try to do everything to be able to keep him. So I'm not like, there's not high hopes for that one. But still, if you stand the chance to get Mike Maignan, I'd certainly prefer that over Andre Onana. Adash, what about you? Now, I'm not expecting you to be an expert on him, but by what you know, what do you think about Chelsea chasing Andre Onana? And I mean, would he be your first choice? Would you be okay with him? And if he isn't your first choice, who would be?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch too much of him when he was in the Eredivisie, but I've watched a lot of Inter this season. I've watched quite a bit of Inter. I think, like, footballing wise, I don't think he's the best option. I think Mike Maignan is just so much better than him. But I also think even the stats back up the fact that he's not a very good keeper, and I would say he's at a similar, if not a worse level than Kepa, despite how bad Kepa has been, like, historically. But I think arguably, like, the bigger problem is just like what we're gonna face with Mendy in the summer, because Onana is 27 years old right now. I think he's 27. And so if he doesn't work out, if he's not an incredible shot-stopping keeper, and if we need to move him on, by that time he's going to be really old. And also, it's going to be much harder for us to be able to move him on.
Age is less relevant, right? And he just turned 27 as well in April. So I don't think age is the concerning, because, I mean, Maignan is even older than Onana is, actually.
Yeah, but also, like, with regards to his playstyle, would also make him much harder to move on, because teams would prefer keepers who are more solid than keepers who necessarily have to play out from the back. I mean, you can just, even with a keeper who doesn't play out from the back, you can still be successful in playing out from the back as long as you have elite level center backs and you have a really good system in place. But I think that would be one issue. And I also just don't think, like you mentioned, that he's that much of an upgrade that we should warrant spending that kind of money on him. I would rather just wait another season with Kepa and to make sure we get the position right, because Bowley's probably going to give these people long contracts too. So I would rather wait to get the decision right than
we won't be allowed to do any more than 5-year contracts anymore now anyway, so we should be okay from that front.
Well, we might do the contracts. We might still do the contracts. We just can't amortize it for over 5 years. So, I mean, if the issue is also,
why would anyone agree to that, right? So I'm expecting 5-year contracts from now on, but I could be wrong. Fair point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's speculation again. But even then, I just think all around, I don't think it's a move that gets me excited.
Yeah, it's like I say, like my main issue for him is more character things. Now Texas Blue says he got in a fight in training where Lukaku had to separate him. Now I don't know anything about this fight, so I don't necessarily want to say now has a bad character because of that, because sometimes you get in a fight. I mean, Diego Costa got in a fight every bloody day of the week. Still, we loved him, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I mean, Pice, you said there's some pros about Onana, even though you mentioned some cons as well. But would he be anywhere near your top of your list to replace our goalkeepers, or whereabouts would he fall in that kind of ranking, I guess?
To be honest with you, I didn't ever think he'd be available, to be fair.
That's another thing. Why is he more likely to be available than Maignan? Is it just into money troubles, or?
Yeah, into money troubles, I think. Okay. But, you know, I'm open to it. I don't want Kepa starting next season personally. You know, I'd like us to go out and get, you know, Maignan, or I think Diogo Costa is obviously very hyped up as well.
I'm not. When I saw him in the World Cup, he really didn't impress me. So since then, I'm not such a big fan. But that might have just been not him being at his best during the World Cup. I very much admit that.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, obviously, because obviously he was very good for Porto, hence the reason why he even played in the World Cup anyway. So
he's also very young still. He's only 23.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You know, others like David Raya, I think he's underrated. But
they're both about the same height as Kepa, though. So how could you fix the Kepa height issue if you sign keepers who are the same height or shorter? I think Raya is even actually shorter.
Yeah, I don't know. Raya doesn't have a history of long shots, though, despite him being the same height.
Yeah, but I still don't think that's a transferable metric, though, because a team like Brentford will always have more men back because they're a smaller team. They will be a little bit more defensively solid, where there will never be as much space to shoot from distance. Like, how often obviously we criticize sometimes that our team don't shoot as often, but when you compare the situations when we approach an opposition's third or our final third compared to when they approach ours, the amount of space to shoot there is also drastically different, right? So I think when you play in a team where it's much more difficult to get long shots off, then your goalkeeper isn't going to look bad for that. That doesn't necessarily mean he's great at them, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But still, you know, I'd rather just not have Kepa in goal. I'd rather get anyone really over Kepa. For me personally, I don't like him or rate him.
Tell the dragon. All right, calm down.
Maybe not that far, but yeah, I do think ONANA would be an upgrade.
I mean, hey, for TikTok reach might be quite good, but you know, I mean, Super Tommy Talker says here we hired all these scouting geniuses and the best keeper they can find is ONANA. Well, to some extent, I agree with you. At the other point, without a fan base, you can't bring them a 20-year-old goalkeeper. They would just laugh at it and say shit before they've ever watched him play. So they're kind of forced into certain things. And also, like, do you want to throw another young player in there? The whole back line is young, aside from Thiago Silva. Do you then want to throw another young goalkeeper in there? We will not be any good for the next 5 years if we have no experienced players anywhere. Then again, how experienced is ONANA? Now, of course, won a few things with Ajax. I think he was the Ajax goalie when Ajax made it to the semi-finals and lost to Pochettino Spurs, which they shouldn't have, which still irks me. I remember when I watched that game when Spurs scored that winner late on, I literally got up and walked out. I was like, I'm not having this. Fuck Spurs in the Champions League final, man. But yeah, it's like, if it happens, it happens, right? So like, I can't stop. And if it happens, I will give ONANA a chance and see how it goes. But he certainly wouldn't be my first pick. And I would still hope that we would at least ask in Milan, AC Milan and Mignon whether there's a chance, because they won't be in the Champions League most likely next season either. They don't look like making top four. And unless Juve get points deducted again, obviously they got them reinstated. But if they get them deducted again, then maybe Inter Milan kind of squeeze into top four. I'm not sure. And I guess they are still in the Champions League, so they could theoretically win it and qualify that way. But surely at this point, we're all expecting that to be either Madrid or City, most likely City, in my opinion. But yeah, this is my opinion. I would prefer Mignon. I would prefer Ter Stegen. But if it is him, it is what it is. My problem at this point is I like Kepa more than others. I rate Kepa more than others, even though I do think he makes mistakes and has certain issues with him. I personally, if we are in a situation where we're like, okay, we can't find a player who is drastically better than Kepa right now, I would be okay with having Kepa for another year and then hopefully being back in at least any European competition next year. Maybe there's a different chance. Manuel would have less years left in his contract, etc. Like, different variables come into it, right? And then try to actually sign a significant improvement. Because if we sign ONANA now, and if we're not fully happy with him either, it will still be another 2, 3, maybe 4 years until we sign a different goalkeeper who we then would be happy with if we're not fully happy with ONANA. So that's what I'm slightly worried about from that point of position, from that point of view. But at the end of the day, how can you rate Kepa?
I have a bad feeling that this is something to do with like a Lukaku permanent deal, where like Chelsea are like, right, okay, if we buy ONANA, you can just have Lukaku or something. Like, I don't know where this has come from. Like, it's a bit strange to me.
But that's why we've been linked to him before, like a week or two, have we not?
Yeah, but it was not like, I never posted anything because the outlets weren't that good. It seems like they were right, but I don't know what I mean is I don't know where this is actually like why ONANA? Like, it just with Inter Milan and the whole Lukaku thing, I just think it's a bit. I don't know. I think there's something fishy going on, some sort of deal.
And 40 million is pretty steep.
Is it? I feel like nowadays anything under 50
I think nowadays that's cheap for goalies, to be fair, especially with his experience. Like, he's got quite a bit of experience.
But does he? One season with Inter, and otherwise with Ajax, and between that, 2-year doping ban.
Yeah, but Ajax were very good back then.
Yeah,
And
but
they were in the
we saw
Champions
how
League.
that worked out with Ziyech.
He's been good in the Champions League as well for Inter Milan. So I was
Yeah,
really
no, it's true. Like you definitely can't sit here and say Onana is a bad goalkeeper. That would be an absolute lie. I'm definitely not saying that either. I'm just not sure if he's that much better than Kepa. Now, I know a lot of people in the chat clearly drastically disagree with this. And I'm not saying I want to stick with Kepa, but I say I'm willing to stick with Kepa if that means next year we get a much better goalkeeper than Onana, if that makes sense. Because then I'm like, well, I'd rather another year of Kepa than 3 years of Onana if he turns out to be not good enough either, right? That's where I'm coming from, basically. Gia with the super chat here. Appreciate it very much. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Bring it back up on screen. He says, why does not world-class Joao Felix play? Isn't this Norwegian crowns? Norwegian people speak great English usually, so I'm a bit confused at what this sentence is trying to say. Why doesn't he play? I don't know. But do I care? Also no, because at this point, don't really need him to stay. If he stays on another loan, all right. If he doesn't, also all right by me. I know Pice doesn't quite agree with that sentiment, but I mean, Pice, first of all, it's a difficult super chat to fully understand what exactly the question is, but what would your response be? Like, why is Lampard not picking him?
Well, I mean, last game he was saying about, like, how great of a talent he is, but he needs to do more defensively in terms of, like, work rate. He said that before, like, he was on the not Sky Studio, but he was, like, on the pitch with the Sky team before Arsenal, and he was asked about Felix. So I'd probably say that's your answer. I think right now, probably Lampard doesn't think he does enough off the ball. And, Frank Lampard's very big on pressing and all that sort of thing.
But easy, because we don't fucking press, do we?
I know, like, he's big on, what he's like. He's big on, like, these, intensity and work rate. And, I think that's why he took Aubameyang off, because obviously Aubameyang just wasn't running at all. And, like, I don't know.
I would really love to know distance covered for Aubameyang in the first half and Havertz in the second half. I'd love to know.
Yeah, so I do think that's why, but I think he'll get some more games towards down the end of the season, depending on what formation we play, probably.
That is a big point, yeah, depending on what formation we play. And yes, I'm not sure if you're taking a piss, but you are clearly wrong. So either you're an idiot or you're just confused. So
he's not been that great for PSG, by the way. I'll tell you that.
You're not getting him for 40 million anyway.
No, I know, but just to that comment there, he's actually like, Yash, if you think he's like world class, he really isn't. He makes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it's weird because when I tend to catch PSG highlights, at least only highlights, but still I tend to try to catch them. And you will either see Donnarumma have a howler or make 5 of the best saves you'll see in the same game. It's like only those 2 options. I've never watched PSG highlights and Onana do nothing. Donnarumma do nothing. He either has a stinker or makes 3 incredible saves. I don't know about him. I'm not a fan of him. I think he's a bit arrogant. But anyway, like I say, the Onana issue character-wise. I mean, a couple of people in the chat have now mentioned Keylor Navas for a few years and Ben Slanina. I don't know. Keylor Navas is 36 by now. I didn't rate him that highly at PSG. I didn't rate him that highly at Real Madrid. I know he won the Champions League God knows how many times with him, but I still never really rated him that much. Is he better than Kepa? Yeah, probably. But if we're going to go for a 36-year-old goalkeeper, go for Neuer, not for Keylor Navas, even though apparently Tuchel wants Neuer to be the number 1 next season, so it's what it is. Mendy better than Onana, guys. I mean, that's just wrong. But anyway, at least the Mendy that we last saw play is definitely nowhere near as good as Onana has been this season. The Mendy that won us the Champions League, now he might be better than Onana, but that Mendy isn't here anymore. So it is what it is. But some more, I guess, positive news, I would say, is that Chelsea have now finally apparently made an offer to Mauricio Pochettino. We remain optimistic that details can be agreed and Pochettino is thought to be excited. Now, there is not that much new to talk about and share about other than this, what I just read out. But bloody finally, it took them long enough. I still can't understand what took them long enough. Like, Pice, we were talking in a group chat yesterday and I said, or was it 2 days ago? And I said to you, the only reason I can imagine for this whole Pochettino thing to take as long as it has in the last couple of weeks is that we need to be mathematically safe from relegation before he signs anything and before we want him to sign anything. So, and I would accept that. I would say, okay, fair enough. That makes sense because yeah, he wouldn't want to be our manager if we fucking get relegated, would he? So that makes total sense why he maybe wouldn't want that. So okay, fair enough. But now we apparently get this all of a sudden, and yeah, thought we'd be excited, which is good. But just get him in as quickly as possible, whether it's in as the manager or in like Fabregas told us about that Conte when he was hired before the season ended after 15-16, that he still came to Cobham before he actually took over, spoke to all the players, spoke about what his plan is and everything. So you go for Pickford. I mean, yes, I just can't take your opinion seriously if you want Pickford, honestly. But
fucking hell. I mean,
literally.
Pickford, I know as an England fan, I mean, he can either be extraordinary, but a lot of the times he's just like a loose cannon. Like I don't know, he makes too many mistakes for me. But
Mate,
like,
I would rather put Bettinelli in goal than Pickford.
No, that's too far.
No, okay, it's too far. Okay,
Pickford is
along
good,
those lines.
I think with Pickford as well is like he thinks he's good on the ball, but like the amount of times he just smashes it out of players.
The only thing he's good at is punting it really far. So if he played with Haaland, great, but he doesn't.
Yeah, he'd be like for City, those long balls, he'd be unreal. But they got Edison anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly. He punts him even further, to be fair. But yeah, there's not much more to say other than that. I'm like, finally, but hopefully it gets done soon. Poch can come in, look at the squad, talk to the squad. Maybe they get some motivation back into the team as well, and maybe that helps pick up our performances. But Adash, I've not really heard your opinion on Pochettino. Now, we've known for a little while now at this point. As an Arsenal fan, what about Emi Martinez? He's not awful. Do I think Martinez is so much worse than Onana? No. But on the ball, Onana is significantly better. And if that's what we are looking for, then fair enough. And also, Emi Martinez is in his 30s now. I guess Slonina, but nah, I don't know. He also seems like, I mean, he could be like our dickhead, like Diego was, but it's enough one. It's a tough one. But yeah, Adash, tell me, what are your thoughts on Pochettino? We've known for a few weeks at this point that we are almost guaranteed to get him, even if Yash asks what are the odds Tottenham poach Poch. Very slim at this point, I think. But what are your thoughts? Like, if you are pro him, why? If you are against him, is it a case of his Spurs past or anything that he's not done good enough? Where does your thoughts come from and what are they?
Yeah, I think broadly, I'm not too against it. I don't think he was definitely not my number one candidate, having gone into the whole thing as soon as we sacked Potter. But I think now I'm kind of slowly getting on board with this. I think it would be a much more like kind of like conservative almost choice in terms of somebody who's a little bit more docile, who will kind of be able to build something with the board, who are also learning at the same time what it's like to run a football club. And so I think I wouldn't be displeased with it, but I think the one thing he does really well at is developing young talent and making sure that they get bedded in kind of into the squad and playing well with what kind of tools he has. Having said that, I think it's exactly what you mentioned in terms of the like being mathematically safe from relegation. I don't think he wants to sign on until that's done, and that's a guarantee. Yeah.
How does anyone know, assuming that we still don't get any points, how long will it take if the right teams keep dropping points that we are mathematically safe? Can it be this weekend or not yet?
Should have asked. You should have got CFC Daily on the stream, bro. He thinks
he would know. He would know. Well, I should get him on more often, purely for the retweets, really. But he's been a bit hesitant so far.
I think the team in 18th has 30 points, and they played 34 games. So, and we are on 39 points. So if they lose a game if Nottingham Forest lose and then we also draw, then I think we're mathematically safe. I could be wrong on that though. I think if Forest lose, and then we draw, I think we're mathematically safe.
Oh, really? Are we just dependent on one team still? Because the team that's 19th still catches as well.
Well,
because there's 15 points to play for, no? Or is it only 12 at this point? It's only 12, true. It's only 12.
It's 12. It's only 12.
But I don't think we're 12 ahead of 19th. I could be wrong. It doesn't really matter. We'll just have to wait. I mean, JPF in the chat said you're right, so maybe you are. My bad if you are. But Pice, let me take it to you. Obviously, yeah, all good, bro. Pice, obviously, we've discussed Poch at length and plenty, but good that finally a contract offer is made and just get it done as quickly as possible. Yeah, otherwise, what else is there to say, no?
Well, I hope so, because to be honest with you, as much as, I may have doubts over how Poch will end, I don't really want Company or Postecoglou. If it wasn't going to be Nagelsmann, then, it had to be Pochettino, in my opinion, or Enrique, obviously, of course, was in it.
Would you
But
have preferred Poch or Enrique? If you take the Spurs thing out of it.
For our squad, probably Poch, to be honest with you, for our squad.
I actually
but I don't know. I was intrigued by Enrique, obviously, because of his status as a, just like a top manager sort of thing. He had a lot of reputation, whether that's fair or not, behind him. But yeah, I was intrigued by that, especially like tactically how he would do in the Premier League.
It's so weird to me, and maybe I was the weird one in that, because I didn't really see Enrique as the guy with this huge reputation as this amazing manager. Like, obviously, we all know that he did amazing things with Barcelona, but before I did a bit more research now that there was links from us to him, then I've got a bit more of a broader perspective, and now I'm less talking about kind of reputation, more like what I've actually learned. But in terms of what the reputation I thought you had wasn't actually that great, but seemingly that was different for others. But hey, so be it. But sorry, Pies, I cut you off. Poch offer sent good, right?
Yeah, we just need to wrap it up. I'm glad this came out today, if it is true as well, because it's just been so quiet. Like, honestly, it's been so quiet. So I just hope it gets done soon. We get the announcement. I thought it'd be done already, to be honest, because we need to have him in the stands. I think for the last few games, we've still got City, Man United coming up. So even though he's not, going to be managing the team, I think just by,
sitting
with the directors in the stands, watching the team, I think he'll be able to learn a lot from the players.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we need to get this done.
But only if he knows what Lampard's instructions are. Otherwise, he can't learn that much.
But like body language, that type of thing as well. I think, I'd hope to see that improve if they knew Poch was in the stands. But again, some of them might just want to leave and might not care. So, there'll be that as well.
Those people shouldn't be played.
Yeah, well, I think Lampard, I don't know. I think he was mentioned about mentality and players caring. He said according to him, he says every player cares, and I do doubt that, but yeah, that's according to him. So
yeah, there you go. And big up Super Tommy Tuchel. I can only agree. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, just quickly a little bit of news that's come out. Also by Matt. Very good. We are apparently only planning to make 2 or 3 key additions. What I didn't like is goalkeeper, striker, and possibly midfielder. I think personally, as a midfielder is way more important than either a goalkeeper or a striker. I think midfielder is by far the highest priority. Then we go to striker, and the third priority, in my opinion, is goalkeeper, in that order. I still think those 3 should be the ones that we address, but I still think the order is completely messed up. I mean, Pies, what do you think about that one in terms of the possibly a midfielder situation here? Especially now that Arsenal are apparently signing Zubimendi, which makes them not impossible, but less likely to get either Caicedo or Rice, leaving them on the table. So, what do you mean, possibly?
Yeah, no, it's not even a possibility. We have to get a fucking midfielder. We need a DM. We may even need 2, to be honest with you. If you look at, potentially Ruben, Cover might leave, Mount might leave. We might even need 2. I don't know what Matt Law's on about. I hope he's just been,
especially if Kovacic leaves as well. I do think we need 2. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I would take this a little bit of a pinch of salt, though, because I think, the transfer market is always fluid, and if an opportunity pops up, we might get, 2 midfielders. Who knows? But I think there's a lot of great midfielders out there. Caicedo, Rice, Ugarte from Sporting looks really, really good. And who else is there? We've been linked with Manu Kone from Gladbach, and obviously Lavia as well. I honestly thought Lavia would be one of the most nailed on signings, especially with Joe Shields and Poch being, not so much ex-Southampton because he wasn't there, but just with the young players and stuff like that. But that's what I really do hope as well, though. We get, I want these players to actually be leaders. So I think actually Lavia might not be the best option. Maybe Rice is the best option in that sense.
I mean, for me, Rice is clearly the best option. But obviously, everyone will have different
I do want us to mix in some experience. Or maybe if you get some young signings, get a couple of older guys. I know we've got a lot to clear out and we've got a big squad anyway, but I fear we have the same things next season when we hit a rough patch, because every team's going to hit a rough patch unless
It's
you're Man
almost like it
City.
would have been great if Jorginho stayed. Oh, who's surprised?
Yeah, but like we do need more characters in the dressing room. To be honest,
No, it's true. Like that's partly also why I'd be so in favor of Rice. I mean, this Arsenal fan here is saying that they're getting Zubimendi and Rice. Now, if this is
maybe
happening,
you turn off the PlayStation, mate. But
yeah, and if it's happening, that means Thomas Partey's getting locked up. And if he is, then you should be disgraced to be an Arsenal fan because you played him all season. And if you're signing 2 midfielders, you're only doing that if Rice is getting if Partey's getting locked up. So think about that. But anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, 2-3 key additions. I mean, I like that we're not overdoing it and going out there and sign 17 players again because we've done enough of that. So 3, I would be happy with, but the 2 and only possibly midfielder is what I'm not so happy with. What about you, Adash?
Well, I mean, I guess my first question to Matt Law is: does this count the 2 players we've already signed? Because then we have a grand total of 1 left, and if that player is ONANA, I'm gonna be throwing some hands. It's safe to say. If our summer becomes
no, I do think 2 or 3 extra. I would assume.
Okay.
Because additions this summer. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, the others we don't have to plan anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think, like you said, I think our current whatever's being reported, I think we should go for it in the opposite order. I think, like you said, Rice would be my number 1 priority in the midfield because he's perfect in terms of what we need in terms of leadership, as well as also having a lot of experience. I mean, we talk about ONANA being old and having experience. I mean, Rice has so much more experience, and he's been so experienced in different situations. He's been at West Ham.
Yes, of a different caliber of club, but still, that is an invaluable experience at this age.
Exactly, and leading them through times when nobody expected them to make it to the Europa League, and yet they did. Leading them through times when they're struggling for relegation. I think that's what makes good characters who can help push teams through difficult patches. I think Pice makes a good point. I think I've also, from what I've seen of Ugarte, I think he's a really good player, but I would be a little bit.
How old is Ugarte? Do you guys know?
I think 24.
I think he's
young. Just turned 22 as well.
He's young he's like 20, he's 21, something like that.
Yeah, 22? Just turned 22 in April. So
yeah.
There you go. Fair play. Even younger than I thought. Sorry, Adash. Go on. Ugarte.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's a good player, but I think I don't know exactly how his game would translate to the Premier League and into a system that Poch would play. I would prefer him over Caicedo even, because I just think Caicedo isn't necessarily what we need in midfield in isolation.
Even though I think Caicedo is a phenomenal player, I'm just not sure he's quite the type we need.
Oh yeah, of course. I think he's incredible. I think I mean, I could wax lyrical about him, but I think it's just a matter of, if we're making 2 or 3 signings, we need to be picky. We need to ensure that the player we need is someone who's going to fit our system and someone who's going to actually improve our play drastically. And I don't know if that profile of player is the person that we need. I think someone like a Rice would be much better.
Sorry, Manson, are you talking to me? Because why do I need to know about everything about you? But sure, I mean, go to my Instagram. There's a link to my email. So the Instagram is literally on screen at Laus1507. Link is down in the description. So yeah, if you want to do that, fair enough. But yeah, let's not spend too much time on midfielder talk while we're not even actually linked to anyone specific. Let me get this last kind of bit of news from Matt Law up, and I'll start with you, Pice. Chelsea are amongst clubs monitoring Rasmus Højlund. Now, obviously, monitoring doesn't mean we're interested. Doesn't mean we're going to sign him. Doesn't mean we're going to sign him this year. But obviously, a very talented young striker, mainly made his name by scoring 3 goals for Denmark a few weeks ago in international break. Not sure how crazy well he did for Atalanta Bergamo, where he plays in Serie A, who, comparison to recent seasons, are not having that great of a season as well. That should be said. But, I mean, do you see that as this could be the striker we sign this summer? Or is this more of a monitoring, we're still going to try and go for someone bigger than that? I still have a little doubts that we could even get Osimhen and stuff without Champions League. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just won the Italian league, the Champions League quarterfinal, arguably should have made the semi-final. Will he want to come to a club that's not in the Champions League, even if he's a big Drogba fan?
I think yes, to be honest. I don't think players nowadays will look at, I think we'll pitch to them that it will only be 1 year out of the Champions League. So, who knows? We can't say for definite, but I think we could definitely give him a bag of, cash and attract him definitely. Because there's rumours he wants a Premier League move as well, and City don't need a striker. So it'd only be us and Man United, and I think we'd win the race out of him, us and Man United. Like, I still think Osimhen will be who we sign up front in the summer. I know it's a big shout, but I do think we'll end up with him. I think he'll be the big signing.
Fair enough, mate. I'm just looking at some of his stats here. I didn't actually realize he was in Austria before he went to Atalanta. But weirdly, he only played in Austria for 6 months. He signed for Sturm Graz in January, almost deadline day of 2022, and went to Atalanta in August of 2022. So in the Austrian Bundesliga, in 5 games, he scored 3 goals, got 2 assists. But I mean, it's the Austrian Bundesliga, so we don't really care about that. For Atalanta, he has in 28 games, 7 goals, 3 assists. Not awful, but not what we should be looking at right now. Like, if we didn't sign David Dutcher Fofana, him as this young kind of additional striker to a big one, sure, no problem. But we have already signed Fofana for no reason. We already gathered that. And now we need someone more proper. Do you know what I mean? So as much as I rate the guy, we're not in a position where we need to sign that kind of player. Would you agree with that, Adash?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't think he's the kind of player that we need at the moment, like in terms of age, in terms of experience. I think it was Felix who's usually pretty accurate with youth kind of reporting. He said we were also in for Victor Roque, who's like the Brazilian guy. I think instead of stockpiling center forwards at this point, I think we need to just solidify, get one really good player, and then kind of like build our attack around him, whether that be Osimhen or I personally don't think we're getting Osimhen. I think it's probably a bridge too far at this point, especially, I mean, the fact that we are talking about needing mathematically to be safe from relegation before signing our next manager, to go from that to signing the hot striker on the market, I don't necessarily think that's viable, especially with all the other.
I mean, apparently we will sign Messi and Neymar, so no problem.
Yeah. I just don't think it's viable. I mean, I wouldn't say no to it, but I don't think that's viable. I don't think we're gonna follow through on the interest with Højlund, I think, so.
Fair dues. I mean, maybe in a year or two's time, depending on what happens with him until then. But for now, I would agree. I mean, Pice, just quickly, this comment here about Isaac, whatever. Do you think the board are already talking to Poch about future transfers, despite not fully wrapping up the appointment? Or are these players that the board wants, in terms of ONANA, in terms of Rasmus Højlund, in terms of, potential midfield targets, whatever else? How do you see that? Or do you think that would have already been part of the details that are apparently still being discussed, like in terms of being on the same page and who to go for and stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely an ongoing debate. I mean, whoever you ask will probably say a different thing in terms of the end to that question. Some people say, well, they want, this whole yes man thing in charge again, where they'll put the transfers they want on the coach. And then, the coach's job will just be to coach whoever they sign. There's obviously other people who say, no, they want to be, collaborative and that type of thing. But I think the first part to this question, I'm sure they are asking, obviously, about future transfers. I'm sure they have, in conversations, told Pochettino about, these targets. And I'm sure Pochettino was also giving them some of his own targets. I mean, I highly doubt a guy of Pochettino's, like, stature and just like manner is just going to go and I don't get a say in things. I'm sure he will get a say in things. So yeah, I think with the recruitment team we have now, I don't think Bowley and Barley are going to be picking any players, to be honest with you. I think it's all going to be the sporting directors.
Yeah.
And I hope that Pochettino can collaborate with them and it should be much easier to say no to Stuart and Winstanley than maybe say no to the owners' faces, perhaps. So hopefully, that will help us in the transfer market.
Fair enough. Just quickly, PC Matt, I'm not sure if you literally live not even on the moon, but on Mars, because Nagelsmann told us to go do one. I mean, we might have told him to wait, and he didn't like that, so he told us to go do one, but he told us to go do one. So it's not pick and Poch over Nagelsmann, it's Nagelsmann ain't here to pick from. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we go into a little quiz ahead of Bournemouth versus Chelsea. By the way, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Of course, use the super chat function if you fancy that. You don't have to, but if you do, because I can't see every other message, please do use the super chat function. It's always massively appreciated. And of course, hit that like button for me. Just one click of a button that doesn't cost you any money or any time. It really helps me spread these streams out to more people, because that's how the YouTube algorithm goes and works. So yeah, please hit that like button. That would be massively appreciated. But let's get into this quiz. Ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, get involved. I might not be able to see all your responses, but get involved. You will know whether you got it right or not. And let's get into it. All right, first question. As we tomorrow set sail, by the way, shout out to Bacham for creating these quizzes always, of course. Very, very much appreciative. But yeah, as we tomorrow set sail for the coast, not quite how it worked to go there from London, but sure. Looking for a sweet result. It looks like that ship has sailed. Well, yeah. But alas, Quizmaster Bertram still has a sweet tooth. And surprisingly, so do some of our past and present Chelsea heroes. Very intrigued where this is going to go, but we'll see. During half-time of our soon-to-be triumphant game against Bolton in 2005, in need of some energy to win the game, which chocolate bar had Jose reportedly served the players? Oh no, if some of these fans heard about this, then maybe a player ate some sugary treat at halftime. Oh my God, they would think they're the most unprofessional place in the world now. Fuck me. Anyway, Mars bar, Snickers bar, a Kit Kat, or a Bounty? Well, let's just rule a few things out. Surely he didn't turn up with a Bounty. Not enough people like a Bounty for him to turn up with a Bounty, right? I feel like Kit Kat ain't that kind of thing. I reckon it's got to be a Snickers because, it's got the peanuts in it, I reckon it's got to be a Snickers, no? What do you reckon, Adash? We're purely guessing it. I don't think anyone would just know the answer to this.
I think it's a rogue shout for Bounty. I think precisely because they don't like it, Jose was like, yeah, you better eat this. I don't know. I could see Jose turning up with a Bounty. I don't know. He just seems, maybe it's because of the blue in the background. It's kind of swaying me.
Maybe he's Southern, Portuguese. But I don't think coconuts grow in Portugal. But maybe this still makes him more likely to like them. I don't know.
I'm going for Bounty. If it's right, then yeah.
So you go for whatever you want. We go for each other's. Each goes for their own answer. We'll see who's right at the end. Guys, you got anything to pick? Which one would be your favorite? I mean, you can also tell us which one is your favorite of those four.
I mean, I've never heard of this story before, to be honest with you.
Me neither, which is one of those like rogue. How about where you got this one from? But hey,
yeah, it's like one of those like rogue stories you think you probably would have heard about and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's like weird story, but especially with Jose. But I mean, out of these, Kit Kat's definitely the best, by the way. But in terms of which one they ate, I mean, fucking those. I'm gonna go with like a Mars, just because I think it's like a popular bar. I don't know, random guess. I think it's like the most popular.
I would say one thing that should be cleared up, by the way, Mars bars look different, are slightly different in the US, so that's a weird thing. But yeah, I would probably just about put Snickers first, but Kit Kat is second. So those two are definitely top two. I would probably put Mars fourth. Sorry, I would even put Bounty ahead of Mars. I find Mars very underwhelming. But anyway, let's see what the correct answer is. It was a Kit Kat, to be fair. All right, fair enough. The whiteboard is back. Jose wanted to tell the players to relax and that Bolton eventually would crumble, just like Kit Kat. Classic Jose, classic Jose, classic Chelsea. Love that. Would crumble just like a Kit Kat. Brilliant. This is what we're missing, man. Do you know what Potter was talking about? Oh, I can't even think of a funny joke with how random this season has been. My days. Next question. Although he's a little useless lately, like the rest of the team, to be honest, Kai Havertz will forever be remembered for his Champions League winning goal. Which of the following items do not appear in his regular halftime snack intake? Fanta, exclusively blue M&Ms, Haribo gummy bears, or green Skittles? I swear I watched the interview where he spoke about that in a lot of detail. I'm not sure
isn't it got to be the drink? Because don't they get given drinks? I'm pretty sure.
They get given drinks, but also he kept saying how he loves Coke and didn't really speak about Fanta. So I'm like, if all of a sudden it's Fanta, then I'm baffled because when I heard him speak about it, he constantly spoke about Coke. So, yeah, he's just proper Chelsea. You know what I mean? I constantly talking about Coke. But I mean, Pies, is that why you're picking Fanta then? Or
I'm gonna go with
the blue M&Ms and the green Skittles just seems weird because like they don't taste that different to the other colors. So don't be a weirdo, man.
Surely he doesn't have all three of those foods though. Right? Like
I'm very sure he will have the Haribo gummy bears. I don't know. It just seems like a German thing.
Yeah, and then exclusively blue. I mean,
he says he loves Skittles, so I'm gonna say Skittles as well. So I'm gonna say the exclusively blue M&Ms I think are probably wrong on the basis of that because you make a good point. Why would you have 3 different snacks but no drink?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the M&Ms as well.
Right, Adash, you gonna go along with our logic here, or you gonna go with something different?
I'm gonna go with the green Skittles. I think he's proper Chelsea. I think he's proper Chelsea. I think he goes with just the blue M&Ms. I don't know.
I think Bertram, that's why he put the exclusively blue M&Ms in there because for exactly that thought. But I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm tempted to go with the M&Ms like I just said. But you know what? I'll still stick with the Fanta because he kept talking about Coke. So it will piss me off if he apparently drinks Fanta. But let's see. Go on, me. Apparently. Oh no, he has Fanta, Haribo, and Skittles. So you were right. Fuck's sake. I only saw the Fanta initially, and I was like, I was right. But I was right. Here we are. Well, fair enough. It's the blue Skittles. There you go. Blue M&M. Sorry. We all know Antonio Conte as an energetic manager who sometimes looks as if he burns more calories than some of the players. Which of the following special ingredients did he have, which allowed him to continue his touchline antics? All right. Let's go. Ambrosoli al Mille, a kind of chewable honey sweet which ensures he didn't lose his voice. All right. 100% pure Norwegian licorice after every good training session and every victory. Fruit roll-ups imported from Walmart and was seen to be a break in his character as his persona favorite was the strawberry blast flavor. All right. Ferrero Rochers. He would have boxes upon boxes of them and would give one for every offensive player for a goal assist and defenders for a clean sheet. It has to be first one, no? Surely. How on earth could Bertram have made Ambrosoli al Mille? Like, he can't have made that up. Even though I only know Miele as a fucking dishwasher brand, so I have no idea how that's supposed to be honey. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Pies?
This is like so weird. I have no idea.
I feel like all of these are wrong, by the way, Bertram.
Did he? So this is he had it with him, right?
Apparently.
I'm gonna say it's the first one.
Yeah, no, I agree.
First off, it sounds Italian, and I'm pretty sure a lot of managers have like chew gum or whatever, that type of thing. I'm pretty sure.
Unless Bertram is just trying to bait us with the Italian name, that could be exactly.
Yeah, it could be right, but he wouldn't have.
I back it, bro. I back it. I go for the same. Adash, would you go for number one as well, or you got something different up your sleeve, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the first. I think you can just eliminate all three. The second one is like, see, Bertram's Norwegian, so he's trying to like rep his own. Okay. Well, then that's thrown me off. So now it could be the licorice. But I think the third and fourth one you can definitely eliminate because of the stories. There is no way. I would be shocked. I'm gonna go for the first. I'm gonna go for the first one too.
Okay, this better be true, Bertram. By the way. Oh yeah, see, Ambrosoli al Mille. I love it. See, but at least we got it right. Random picture here, but I like it. I like it. Next question. Oh yeah, I do love. Oh yeah, I remember him. So, Adash, if you've not seen them, I'm not sure if you followed them in the chat, but we get 3 clues basically. From these clues, we have to figure out who we're talking about. But clue number 1, which we never get it from. I'm a former Chelsea defender. I've scored 11 goals, including a goal of the season. Okay, actually, I do know who it is. Surely this has to be Alex, no? I mean, it could be David Luiz. David Luiz could have scored a goal of the season. I couldn't tell you. But Alex most certainly has scored a goal of the season for his free kick against Arsenal. So, okay, let's just hold it in the bank. Let's go to clue 2 and see if we learn any more. Because they're both Brazilian. So, I share a striking resemblance to a character Okay, it is David Luiz then.
I gave it away, but
Yeah, it is David Luiz then. I think we can all agree. Let's see what clue number 1 is. I played the Champions League, the 2012 Champions League final through an injury, and it was certainly not Gareth Cahill. So yeah, David Luiz. I remember him. I do miss David Luiz, especially nowadays. Some of his passing, my days, that would be good nowadays. Hey, here we are. And the last one, the Chelsea way. A player from the Wikipedia screenshot of his clubs. We need to figure out who he played for. And this is not an easy one, you know. Oh, no, I do know, actually.
Wait, does it go down by recency or does it go up by recency?
So Feyenoord was the first one, then Chelsea, then Lille, then Hertha, then Botafogo, and then Atos.
I think I know who this is.
Yeah, I know who it is. Shall we let Adash go if we both think we know it? So, Adash, do you have any idea?
For some reason, my mind is going to Kalou, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
It's Kalou, isn't it? I was going to guess that.
I was going to, purely for Chelsea. I can't remember if Kalou went to Lille, I'll be honest, but I know he was at Hertha BSC Berlin for a while.
Yeah.
No idea what Botafogo is and Atos / Solar 7. How can you have a slash?
Botafogo is a Brazilian team.
Oh, yeah? I would have guessed like South African, but sure. It does sound a bit like Jogo Bonito.
I only know that because I'm like a FIFA Ultimate Team nerd, so just allow me.
But the Brazilian league aren't even properly in Ultimate Team, are they?
No, but they're like an old school. Like their badge basically used to be a quality one to have on your Ultimate Team. It's a cool badge.
Shout, actually, shout. Fair enough. It's crazy that he scored more and played nearly as much for Berlin as he did for us. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, I think we're probably all in agreement. It's got to be Salomon Kalou. That's why we love Salomon Kalou. What a song that is, by the way. My days. All right, and then the last one, golden goal scorer. Wait.
No,
I was at this game. I can't remember who scored.
I know who
I literally traveled to Prague for this game. Who scored the goal?
I know who it is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Now, because it was the Europa League, I'm almost tempted to just say Giroud.
Wrong.
Because I feel like Giroud just was top goal scorer of the Europa League campaign and everything.
No, you're wrong, unfortunately, bro.
It's not Giroud, is it?
I remember this goal.
Was it Willian?
Nope, wrong. Do you want me to tell you?
Give me a second, please. I can't believe it. I was literally there. How can I not remember? I can't see it, but I can't see it having been Hazard because I don't think he played in these types of games. We usually rested him for those. I don't think it was Ruben because I'll
give you a clue.
All right, go on.
It's defender.
By the way, I really love the fact that Adash or Pais, I think it's Adash, background, I can hear birds chirping. Wonderful background noise. Love it.
That's one, probably.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. Big fan. Defender. So it would have been like Aspie or?
Alonso?
Yeah, Alonso.
Alonso, of course. I forget the guy.
It was a cross, and then I'm pretty sure he headed it. It was like it was a header, I'm pretty sure.
There you go.
It's a horrible game.
Marcus Alonso, 86th minute. Yeah, it was a terrible night as well because it was flipping freezing in Prague. I'm almost ashamed, by the way, that I was at this game and didn't remember. I apologize, Chelsea. But yeah, thanks for playing. Let's hope we get to see some of the younger players flourish these last couple of games. The likes of Madueke and Fofana should hopefully show signs of improvement. As always, like and subscribe and up to Chelsea. Like Bertram says, like and subscribe. And up to Chelsea. And now we do get into talking about the team we would like Chelsea to use tomorrow. And the first question I need to ask you, and I'll start with you, Adash. What formation would you like to see Chelsea go with tomorrow? Back four, back three? If it's back four, 4-3-3. If it's back three, 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, what do you reckon? What would you like to see? Not what you expect.
At this point, honestly, just for the single point, so he can get safety and so Poch can sign the contract, just go with the 3 at the back. I mean, if not for the 3 at the back, I would be tempted to go with the 4 at the back because then we actually have a chance for our outfield youngsters to actually get a shot to play in positions where they might be more better suited. But I think for tomorrow, I would just go with the 3 at the back just to solidify safety, mathematically speaking.
Okay, Pice, I'll ask you next. What would you do in terms of formation? And then we'll see what has the majority and we'll pick that.
I in my preview I did a 3 at the back on my website, of course. But I don't know. I kind of want to go 4-2-3-1, but I don't think he's going to play that. So
no, but we're picking our team, so it doesn't have to be what we think Frank will do.
All right, if it's my team, I'd go 4-2-3-1.
But 4-2-3-1 over 4-3-3 as well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. See, I'm not really that bothered if it's 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. I will pick a back four purely because, honestly, I know what you're saying, Adash. Just keep a clean sheet that will give us 1 point, sorted. My reasoning for not doing that is as simple as I don't think we're winning a game no matter what we do. I don't even think we're getting a point no matter what we do. And I think in the back four, I get more of the players in who I think need to play at the moment. Well, if we play a 3-4-3 again, there will be too many players, or 3-5-2, there will be too many players who I don't think should be anywhere near playing that do play. So therefore, I will probably agree with Pice. Sorry, Adash, you will now have to pick the players in this team. But I'm sure you live. At the end of the day, whatever we pick here, it's not going to be what Frank picks tomorrow. So we'll just see what it is. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, some of you would have liked to go for back four as well. I'm sure some of you would have preferred a back three. But yeah, we're just going to go for this. I explained my reason. But yeah, there you go. I guess we start with the goalkeeper. Pice, we don't know if Mendy is fit, but Mendy or Kepa, I guess. Apparently, we're going to get rid of both anyway, so... should we just at this point place Lanina? Like, if we're actually getting rid of both, why not?
Yeah, to be fair, why not? But it'll probably be Kepa.
Yeah, it will be. But would you, I mean, I know you prefer, like, I'm not even saying you prefer Mendy. You're just not a fan of Kepa, as most of the fan base is, so that's fair enough. But would you really pick Kepa if it was you? You wouldn't, would you?
Wait, what I would pick?
Yeah, what you would pick. Would you actually pick Kepa?
No, I'd pick Mendy if it was me.
Yeah, but then we don't even know if he's fit. So let's see what Adash says, and then we'll see who we put on screen. Adash, I guess, presuming both are fit, even though I don't think Mendy is fully fit. Otherwise, I think he would have played by now, but I could be wrong. Who would you play in goal?
If Kepa and Mendy are both fit, I would play Bettinelli. I would probably just go with Mendy because I think now that the season's done, I think with the amount of second chances, third chances, fifth chances that Kepa's gotten, Mendy's not had that many chances in terms of having runs out of the side and then coming back in to try and be able to prove himself before we make a final decision about whether to sell him or not. So I think, why not?
Yeah, to be honest, I think the final decision has been made. I wanted to bring it up earlier. I didn't really get around to it. But yeah, there was also a report that, we couldn't agree a new contract with Mendy, so he will be sold. Fair enough. But yeah, okay, you boys pick Mendy. As you guys know, I would always pick up over Mendy, but hey, here we are. It's okay. Let's put Mendy in goal. And shall we do the centre-backs? I will start now, and I will do something that maybe some people don't like. I would drop, rest, call it whatever you want. I would not play Thiago Silva. He's played all of these 6 games that we lost. Clearly, he's not the decisive factor in us winning. So why play a 38-year-old? Thiago Silva doesn't need any more game time. Thiago Silva doesn't need any more experience. If anything, given Thiago Silva, we should honestly allow Thiago Silva just go on holiday now. It's fine. Come back in August or July, whatever, for pre-season. You don't need to be here anymore. That's what I would tell him, honestly. Especially then his wife wouldn't complain as much either. But yeah, I would start Badiashile and Fofana. Now, Fofana and Madueke seem to potentially have come off injured in the last game, but Frank in the press conference said same injury list as before, so I assume both Fofana and Madueke are fit, so that's what we have to go with. And yeah, of course, Kaha, I think we're all in agreement that Frank will start Kepa, but we're not going with predicted. We're going with what we would like to see as a democratic vote between us three. Adash, would you back my point? If it's back four, I know you would prefer back three, but if it's back four, why even play Thiago Silva at this point? Like, he doesn't need it. And apparently he doesn't even help us get results anyway, so what's the point? And surely Badiashile can at least improve that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely back it. I think this is the only decision that Frank has gotten heat for that I don't think is warranted necessarily. I mean, like, I understand the point of, like, Thiago Silva being rested, and I would say for a game like this, I would urge Frank to rest him. But I think like saying it's a travesty that Badiashile is not playing and that Thiago Silva and Fofana are playing ahead of him. I don't think that's the big issue. I don't think that's been the issue that we've had in the
but
games.
I think when people say that, they're more complaining about when we played a back three, that Frank then picked Cucurella, that Frank picked Chalobah at left centre back. Although that might have been in the Champions League when Badiashile obviously wasn't eligible, but still, in the back three, not playing Badiashile is a bit of a disgrace. But in the back four, I agree with you, Adash. Actually.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would definitely agree with this. I think you can't go wrong necessarily in terms of the centre back pairing unless he plays Chalobah here, and then I think it would be a mistake. But I think other than that, I would be fine with either three of them starting.
Yeah, and if Chalobah plays instead of Fofana, because Fofana isn't 100% fit, if he maybe picked up a small knock at the end of the last game, also don't care. Like I say, I'm expecting us to lose every game, so I'm not that bothered. I don't care what formation we play. I expect us to lose. So hey, here we are. But guys, I'm sure you would be in agreement with this centre back two in the back four.
Yeah, Badiashile has to be one of them, and then out for Fofana and Silva, I don't really care who plays. Okay. I like.
Do you not agree? Like, what's even the point in playing Thiago Silva at this point anymore?
Yeah, I suppose I get what you mean. Yeah, I'm indifferent to it. To be fair, whoever.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I'm just want the season to end. So
yeah. I'm never going to complain about Thiago Silva playing. I'm only going to complain about certain other players not playing, and I'm like, what's the need in Thiago Silva right now? That's all I'm saying. But obviously, I never have an issue with Thiago Silva playing, if that makes sense. But yeah, okay, full agreement then on the centre back too. Fullbacks then. We didn't put Chalobah here. I don't want Aspie at right back anymore, so I'm picking Chalobah. Even though he's not amazing at right back either, I'd still rather than Aspie. So I'm picking Chalobah. Pies, do you agree?
Yes. Yeah, if we played a back four, I'd play Chalobah. Aspie's just... No, please no.
Yeah, the only position I'd accept him in is right centre back in a back three. But now that we have Fofana, Aspie isn't needed for that position. So Aspie shouldn't play, full stop. End of discussion. I don't care if you're building a house at Cobham. I don't care. Don't want to hear it. You're not playing anymore, man. You can't even block a fucking cross. Oh, my days. Adash, would you agree or would you rather stick with Aspie, even though you're not going to outvote us anymore now, but still?
Yeah, no, that's why that was the original reason why I said it would be a travesty if Chalobah played at right center back, because that would infer that Aspie has to play right back, which would be...
He's such a smart man. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think please don't put me through more trauma than I have to already go through for 90 minutes by making me watch Aspie. I mean, realistically, I know who the fullbacks are going to be, and they're not going to be the players that we select. But I think just please just play Chalobah. It could not be worse.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, you hinted on who the fullback should be. I wonder if that is hinting at Lewis Hall. It's an interesting one, actually. Something I wanted to mention earlier, and I forgot at this point. Apparently, I can't remember what source claimed this. So maybe, Pice, you will know that, because I saw a tweet of it today at some point. Apparently, both Carney Chukwuemeka and Lewis Hall got loan offers in January, and the club turned them down because they would get minutes. Since then, Chukwuemeka has played, I think, less than 45 minutes, and Lewis Hall has played 0 minutes since then, and we turned down a loan offer. Absolute disgrace from Chelsea Football Club. Absolute disgrace. But not surprised by that anymore, am I? But at left back, I'd probably still pick Chilwell. If I'd play Lewis Hall, I'd play him in midfield rather than a left back, because he's never going to get in a left back. So what's even the point in playing him at left back? Right? That's my logic, because I'm like, we have Chilwell, we have Cucurella when he's fit. And even if we chose to sell Cucurella, then we'd still have Ian Martin ahead of Lewis Hall. So Lewis Hall is never going to be our left back. That's not his first position anyway. If anything, he's closer to a left wing back. So at normal left back in the back four, I wouldn't pick Lewis Hall. I just stick to Chilwell. But Adash, from your comment a minute ago, I suspect you were going to say Lewis Hall?
Yeah, I was going to say Lewis Hall purely because, first of all, I don't want to risk it with Chilwell. I don't want to. I mean, the season's kind of done. Just like, don't play. He's also very injury prone. I think just play Lewis Hall. And additionally, I think the fact that we have our midfield, I would rather play the players I want to see in midfield, which is a lot more, which has a lot less kind of variability in terms of who can play where. And so, I mean, it's to Lewis Hall's detriment that he has to be played left back, because he's so versatile. But I think that's where I would put him so I can play. So we could play some of the other players that we want to see, the youngsters, in midfield and then in our front four.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, Isaac says Lewis Hall played very well against Palace at home at left back and a back four. It's true. It's a good point. Fire Red says, why not play Fofana at right back? I guess the logic is play Thiago Silva and Badiashile and play Fofana right back. You could do that. I wouldn't be too upset by that either. But I'm still like, just play the younger players. Like, I know Chalobah is most likely getting sold. So I guess what's the need in playing him out of position and everything? So I wouldn't be upset if Thiago Silva played in the middle and Fofana played at right back. I don't think any of us three would be particularly upset by that. I think Fofana is probably better suited to playing right back than Chalobah is anyway. But, here we are. This is what we picked. But I wouldn't be upset by your suggestions either, guys. Paisto, Lewis Hall or Ben Chilwell? Or, well, Cucurella isn't fit, so I don't really know who else you could play there. But who are you picking at left back?
I mean, in the back three, I would have gone with Lewis Hall at wing back. I think. Yeah. I'm not saying he can't play left back, but I think probably Chilwell for tomorrow. But it'd be nice if Lewis Hall and Chukwuemeka could get on. I think it'd be nice.
Oh, yeah. I'm still picking Chukwuemeka. I might even pick Lewis Hall, which is not a left back.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not showing Lewis Hall yet, but Chukwuemeka, I'm definitely picking.
I'd pick Chilwell in this formation.
Fair dues. All right, then. Let's get to this double pivot now. Pice, do we give Enzo a rest from the start, or does he start again in your mind? And if you rest Enzo, who do you play in midfield?
I mean, I don't know, man. I would start him, and I mean, I would start him and Kante, to be fair, just because we've got a whole
start
week.
Kante again? No, I wouldn't. But fair, you could pick Kante.
Yeah, I mean, just because we've got a whole week rest after this until the next game. I don't know. I just really want to win this fucking game, man. Because
bro, we're not going to win.
The sooner we win a game,
I don't even hope for it.
Like the sooner we win a game, the season, we can just calm down. And I don't know. I just feel like Enzo,
mate. The next time we win a game, it's going to feel like winning the fucking Champions League. Tell you that,
bro. It is honestly like. I just feel like, Bournemouth's quite a tight stadium. They're going to sit back. I think maybe Enzo's passing unlocks something, and maybe that's what I'm thinking. But I could see him resting, I could see it being Kovacic and Chukwuemeka, but I could even see Gallagher starting, to be honest, because it's Lampard. But
I mean, Lampard will pick a 4-3-3 if he plays a back four anyway. So then obviously the whole situation is slightly different anyway.
It's weird because if this is a 4-3-3, Chukwuemeka would be the first person on my team sheet. But I also want I'll get to the attack.
I mean, shall we just push it into a 4-3-3 then?
I mean, we could, but then that means a player I want to play misses out. So
who's that?
I wanted to play Felix as the number 10 and then a striker.
No, bro, we've got to play Chukwuemeka sub Felix.
I want to see Felix play again, though.
Because even in a 4-3-1, I would have just picked Chukwuemeka as the 10.
Nah, I
don't care. I'm picking Chukwuemeka. So.
That's what I was gonna do too, if that helps.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna get a poll. There's not that many people left in the chat, but which formation would you prefer in brackets to start Chukwuemeka? Chukwuemeka. So question mark, and then you get 4-3-3. 4-2-3-1, and then you guys can pick, and whatever you guys decide between those two, that's what we will end up with on screen in the end. But fair enough, we'll leave it only as the double pivot for now, as a 4-2-3-1 Pice, and we'll keep it as Kante and Enzo as your pick. That's absolutely fine. Adash, I'll get to you. What will be your pick of a double pivot if, while for the time remaining, it's still going to be a 4-2-3-1?
If it's a 4-2-3-1, I would go with Enzo and then Zakaria. I think that would be kind of the midfield that we haven't seen. I would not play Kante. I think similar to, he's just as volatile, if not, he's more volatile than Thiago Silva. So I think it's kind of.
He played 3 days ago, so
Yeah,
I'm agreeing with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think I would go with Zakaria because I'm also going to be playing Chukwuemeka at the 10. So that's probably what I would go for. And if we're playing a 4-2-3.
JC, are you saying we would do worse than Lampard right now, bro? I don't think we would.
I mean, we would literally be miles better than Lampard, that's what I'm sure. But yeah, see, now I would pick Enzo and then Lewis Hall. But if we play the midfield three, I would like Adash pick Zakaria and stop playing Enzo deep. So it kind of depends on the chat. So far, we've only had 16 votes. Ladies and gentlemen, get involved in the chat and place your vote in the poll for whether you'd prefer a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, especially with potentially starting Carney Chukwuemeka in mind. Because right now we have literally 3 different picks for whoever plays next to Enzo. So that is a bit difficult. Because I also couldn't decide in this formation who would I pick between Enzo and between Kante and Zakaria. Probably, I don't even. I genuinely don't know. So I will leave this on screen for now. So I give you guys a bit more time to vote in terms of 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. But yeah, so unfortunately, Pice, me and Ash are picking Chukwuemeka, but you want Felix there, right?
Yeah.
But if it was a 4-3-3, then you would put Chukwuemeka as an 8. And would you then put Felix on the wing, or would you then not play Felix if you were forced to play a 4-3-3?
If it was 4-3-3, I wouldn't play Felix.
All right. Okay, I hear you.
Felix has made 12 appearances, so that's already less than 1 million per appearance. So at this point, the embarrassment's done, so don't play him either.
He's not going to score enough goals to make it less than 1 million per goal. So, yeah, that is a tough one. That is a tough one. Yeah, I just want to see Chukwuemeka play. And if we're playing 4-2-3-1, I want to see him as a 10. If we're playing 4-3-3, play him as an 8. Just play it, because it pisses me off that he hasn't got any game time and I can't be bothered with it anymore. But yeah, all right, let's keep that for now as well here until the final decision on 4-3-3 or 4-3-1 has been made. Although so far the 4-3-1 is quite clearly winning, but there's only been 30 votes and there's still over 150 of you here. So get involved, ladies and gentlemen. Just place your vote in the chat, please. And yeah, we get to the wingers. These two are probably, I mean, we were quite in agreement on most of the back four, but I think we're all going to agree on these two. So I'm just going to write them down on the screen and ask you about it after. Mudryk on the left, Madueke on the right. We don't need Mason Mount anymore. We got MM from somewhere else. Mudryk and Madueke, that's what I want to see. Nothing else is acceptable, Frank. If you start anyone else, you get snapped. All right? I'm going to call Christine, and when you get home and you pick the wrong team again, get snapped. It is what it is. You need to handle it. Chelsea legend, I don't give a shit. Stop playing Raheem Sterling. If you play Raheem Sterling again, I might come to your house and throw eggs at your wall, because Raheem Sterling may never start this season again. I will not say forever, but this season he shouldn't even touch the football pitch again. But he most certainly shouldn't start again. I know he will, and I'm almost certain that he will start tomorrow, and it will be Sterling and Madueke and not Mudryk. I feel like it just will be, but it must be these two, right, Pice? It must be these two.
Yeah, I don't want to see any other wing partnership tomorrow. It has to be these two. You know, Mudryk. Yeah, he has to start. I mean, just look at when he came off the bench. You know, he's one of our most dangerous attackers at the moment. He needs to start more. And Madueke is nailed on for me. He starts. So yeah, non-negotiable.
Yeah, fair enough. Adash, do you agree as well? Non-negotiable has to be these two, or any different opinion on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, if it isn't these two, my rage will be uncontainable. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be so unsurprised if it was Sterling and Ziyech. I mean, playing at the wing.
He did say after the last game that Madueke would play more now, so I'm thinking Madueke starts anyway. But with Mudryk, I'm not so sure.
He'll bring him on at halftime instead of bring him on at the 70th minute. That's what he meant.
Yeah. No, maybe. Should be fair. 50-50, you know? Oh, my days. Yeah. But he started the last one, so I'm going to hope he starts this one. But yeah, we are at least in agreement. And again, guys, please choose between 4-3-1 or 4-3-3 so we can finish this lineup thing off here. What about up front, though? Because I still have my issues with David Fofana. He didn't look bad in that game against Southampton that he played. Against City, he didn't really do anything. But a player that doesn't even manage to get picked every game for the under-21s, I'm not sure if he's even worth just giving a game in the first team. You know, it's just like if you're not picked by the under-21s, you are so not good enough that I don't even care how useless Havertz is. I'm still picking Havertz. You know? But at the same time, also like, what does it matter? Just play for Fofana. So I'm happy with both as long as it's not Aubameyang again. So either Havertz or Fofana, I'm okay with both. I'm going to write down both. I assume you both guys are going to pick Fofana, and that's okay. But yeah, I'm just going to write down both. But yeah, if you're not getting picked on the 21s, are you really even remotely good enough? I don't know, boys. I don't know. But Adash, who would you pick between the two? Assuming you're not going to go for Aubameyang again.
I mean, my genuine first choice, and I know obviously he's not in the squad, he's not going to play, would be Mason Burstow. I think I would genuinely just play him ahead of these two. But I actually
you could add him to the squad if you wanted to. There's nothing stopping him from the youth players. You could just add them.
That's true. But the fact that Chukwuemeka and Hall being in the squad was such a big deal, I mean, people would definitely have reported on it if Mason Burstow was in the squad, I would assume. But
so in the actual squad that's traveling, no, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. But I would pick Havertz.
Fofana is because Fofana never made the bench under Frank yet. So by that logic, it might not be Fofana either.
Well, I would go for Havertz instead of Fofana. I think when I've watched the under-21s, he's not looked that good either. I just think, I mean, like, add him to the loan army, add him to the multi-club model or whatever. I just don't think he.
Look at you go knowing about Burstow, having watched the under-21s. I rate it, Adash, my guy. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, that's my cope. That's how I cope with the actual men's team. I just watch the women's.
I watched the women's team, and then it got knocked out of the Champions League anyway. Even though it was unfortunate against Barca, but late win against Liverpool, so that was nice the other day. But yeah, fair enough. Kai Havertz from Europe.
Sam Kerr up top.
Yeah, there you go. Pice, you're probably picking Fofana, right? But if we know Hall is traveling and Chukwuemeka is traveling, do we even know if Fofana is? Because he hasn't yet under Frank, I think.
No, I didn't see or hear anything about it. Realistically,
so that means it's between Havertz and Aubameyang.
Yeah, realistically, it's going to be Havertz up front, and then probably Aubameyang off the bench, maybe later on.
If that. Because for Frank to take him off at halftime, I'm not sure Frank was very happy with him.
Well, I mean, yeah, Frank can't judge anything right now, but
no, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, I would. If I was forced, I'd obviously say Fofana, but I think it will be Havertz. Aubameyang doesn't look that much fit.
No, it doesn't. I mean, obviously, the more he will play, the more he will be match fit. But again, everyone knows Aubameyang's leaving, so why even give him game time? If we knew Havertz was leaving, fair enough, it's a different situation then. But for the time being, it's still just clear that Aubameyang will leave, uncertain for Havertz. So the guy that's certainly leaving, why should he play? But hey, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if no more of you are voting, I will go with what the chat says so far. And that is a 4-2-3-1, which is fair enough. And we'll keep that on screen. So then Chukwuemeka wins as the number 10. Sorry, Pice. I know you wanted Felix. I mean, maybe Frank picks him anyway. But unfortunately, me and Adash went against it. The problem is we need to kind of come to some sort of conclusion what to play here. I mean, is anyone willing to change their mind to somebody else compared to what they have picked?
I'm fine with Hall. I mean, I was assuming my personal preference would be to play him left back and then have Zakaria, but I would be fine with Hall playing it in midfield too.
Fair enough. By that,
that is just purely to see. Sorry, I was just gonna say that's purely to see Hall play. I think that would be a pretty disastrous midfield combo, in terms of how they actually
you could just
work
play
together.
Like this, I mean, it wouldn't be any worse than fucking Kovacic the way he plays at the moment and Kante last game. So can't be any worse than that one, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Pice, would you be very unhappy if Lewis Hall of his own was chucked in midfield next to Enzo? It wouldn't really help Enzo being further forward. I do agree with that, but at this point, no one does. So
not in a pivot. I wouldn't play Hall. No.
You would only play him as an 8 in a 4-3-3 type thing.
Yeah, but even then, I think he's much better as a left back or left wing back. I don't see this. I know he's a midfielder.
He's only had one game in the midfield, and that was Anfield away. It's difficult, man.
I don't know though, bro. I rate Hall because of his performances on the left, not in the middle. So,
but he's only had one game there. So how can you rate him?
Well, let's just say this though. Even if he does well, what's the likely chances he makes it at Chelsea in a midfield? Not very much.
Bigger than at left back.
I don't know. I don't think it's that much of a. No.
I don't think it's very likely either, but I think the likelihood is at least bigger because at left back we have another youngster, Ian Martin, and Chilwell definitely isn't going anywhere. And I don't think Cucurella is probably going anywhere either. Maybe then Martin gets sold, I suppose. But in midfield, if Kovacic were to leave and we only sign one midfielder, there would be space for Hall. Now, I wouldn't be a fan of it, and I don't think we should be doing that. But in theory, there would be space. Nope, no reaction. All right.
No.
What if we?
Good. I wouldn't mind Zakaria either, though. Like, but again, he's a lone player who I'm almost certain we won't sign permanently. So why play him? Just try Hall. Do you know what I mean? I mean, is there anybody else that's a shout? There's Enzo, there's Kova, there's Kante. Obviously, Lewis Hall.
What if we play Chukwuemeka in the double pivot and play Felix at the 10? I mean, we've just given up on the game. So.
If we can't decide, I don't think Chukwuemeka should be in the double pivot, personally. But fair enough. I mean, Price, would you be okay with that? Even if it's a bit crazy with Chukwuemeka as a 6?
I mean, the only other one I would say is Ruben, but...
I forgot about Ruben. I'm picking Ruben. No, it's okay.
No, I would say if it was my team, I would put, and if it wasn't Kante, I would put Zakaria and Enzo. But
is anyone going to agree with me on Ruben?
No, I think Zakaria has more of a future.
Oh, he most definitely has more of a future. But yeah, if no one's agreeing with me, then I guess we'll just pick that. I'll agree with Adash on that one. Just because if we can't really decide on the whole thing, even I'm not fully convinced on it.
Right?
So. Huh?
So there's a lot of different combinations and players you could pick.
Absolutely. So it is slightly all over the shop. But hey, I mean, Gallagher nailed on starter. It's true. Gallagher is starting. But from our team, no. From our point of view, and yeah, Loftus-Cheek, how could I forget? I feel horrible. I'm sorry, Ruben. I will send you an apology letter tomorrow. But yeah, no, I would pick Ruben, but if the boys don't, that's what it is. So hey, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we wrap this one up with a score prediction. Anyone think we're getting a point, Pice?
I'll go 1-1, but Bournemouth probably will win, I can't lie.
Yep, I agree. That Bournemouth will win. Adash, score prediction?
I mean, okay, so my heart is saying 1-1 draw because that's what I really, really crave for deep down. But in my mind, I know it's going to be a Dom Solanke hat trick.
I feel like, my God, if Dom Solanke scores a hat trick tomorrow, my days, I better go buy a shovel because I might have to dig my own grave. My days. Yeah. I am. If I gave an honest score prediction now, I would say we will lose because we will lose. But I don't want to actually say it out loud in a score prediction that we will lose. So I'm saying 3-0 Chelsea. Yeah, I'm saying it. What can you do about it, right? If they prove us right, I'm gonna look like a right boss, but I won't. So it is what it is. Yeah, I would just say 3-0. Pray to God. Maybe the MM winger partnership will fix all our problems. Who knows? I doubt it, but who knows? Bournemouth has been fire lately. Not quite. They lost 4-0 to West Ham. But I know they won their last game. But still, they lost 4-0 to West Ham. Can't be that on fire then. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time to wrap this one up. My God, it's depressing nowadays. But hey, we made an offer to Pochettino, so that's progress. We apparently picked Andre Onana as the goalkeeper replacement. Not my favorite choice, but not the worst choice either. So could be worse, could be better. But yeah, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Hit that like button for me on your way out. Just one click of a button that really helps me spread these streams and videos out to more different people, which is how content creators grow. So that'd be massively appreciated. Please do check out Pice's website, londonsfirst.com. Link is down in the description as well as his Twitter, CFC Pice. And Adash doesn't have Twitter, so just thank you, Adash, for coming on. I appreciate it very much. Have a safe journey back home to Pennsylvania tomorrow. From Pennsylvania to Ohio tomorrow. And hopefully we'll chat to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.